All right, so get ready because today we're diving into the world of AI self-improvement.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. You actually sent this paper over about B-Star,
Right.
and it's basically all about teaching AI to learn from its mistakes,
Yeah.
like we do as humans.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about like AI tackling those complex reasoning problems,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Math problem.
math problems,
Y-
coding challenges,
Exactly.
things like that.
Yeah, and the goal is to be able to do that without, tons and tons of human labeled data.
Right, because that's a huge bottleneck.
Huge bottlenecks, super expensive.
Time-consuming.
Yeah. So this paper is all about how can we basically make AI into a self-taught reasoner.
Okay.
And there are a couple of techniques that already kind of exist that allow models to generate their own practice problems and learn from them.
Okay.
So things like STAR and RFT.
Okay, so STAR and RFT are kind of like the existing methods.
Yeah,
And then B-Star is kind of taking that to the next level.
that's exactly right.
So what's the big difference there?
So the thing is, STAR and RFT are innovative, but they tend to plateau pretty quickly.
Okay.
Models will improve for a little bit and then they just kind of get stuck.
Okay.
And so this paper really delves into why that happens, and that's where B-Star comes in.
Gotcha. So it's not just about like AI self-improvement, it's about effective self-improvement.
Absolutely.
And that's where I think this whole concept of exploration versus exploitation comes into play.
Yeah, those are the two key ingredients for any successful learning process.
Right.
Whether we're talking about AI or humans,
Yeah.
exploration is all about, trying new things,
Okay.
generating diverse solutions to a problem.
Yeah.
And then you need exploitation, which is the ability to identify the best solution
Out of all the possible.
from that pool of possibility.
Okay, so exploration's like brainstorming and exploitation is like picking the winning idea.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
But I guess I would think that like if an AI is getting smarter,
Hmm.
wouldn't it kind of naturally get better at both of those things?
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
But that's actually not what they found.
Oh, really?
So they use this really challenging data set of math word problems called math.
Okay.
And as the AI model improved at solving those problems, its exploration capability actually decreased.
Oh, really?
It started generating very similar solutions, so
right.
limiting its ability to really learn and improve further.
So the smarter it got, the less creative it became.
Exactly.
Ew.
And it almost suggests that AI can fall prey to this confirmation bias,
Wow.
prioritizing those familiar solutions over potentially better ones.
Yeah.
It's like, even AI can get stuck in a rut.
Right. Even when it has the capacity to think outside the box.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. So how does B-Star address this problem?
So they introduced this really interesting new metric called the balance score,
Okay.
which essentially measures how well the AI is doing in terms of both exploration and exploitation.
Okay, so it's like a holistic assessment of its learning progress.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
So how does that actually change the AI's behavior, though?
So it doesn't give it a pep talk or anything,
Right.
but it guides the learning process
Okay.
in a clever way. So B-Star uses this balance score to dynamically adjust two key parameters,
Okay.
the temperature and the threshold.
Ooh, temperature and threshold. That sounds kind of science fiction-y.
It does a little bit.
But what do those actually control?
So think of the temperature as a control for how much the AI explores different solutions.
Right.
So a higher temperature encourages more diverse approaches.
Okay.
A lower temperature keeps it more focused.
So it's like adjusting its risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Or like
It-
its willingness to experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it. And then the threshold. So how does that come into play?
So the threshold comes into play with the reward function.
Okay.
So remember how we talked about exploitation being the ability to identify the best solution?
Yeah, like having a judge decide which one wins the prize.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So the threshold determines how strictly that reward function grades the solutions.
Okay.
A higher threshold means it's very picky,
Okay.
only rewards the absolute best. A lower threshold is more lenient.
Interesting. So it's constantly monitoring the balance score.
Yeah.
And it's tweaking these two parameters
Yeah.
to kind of keep it on the right track.
That's a great way to put it. It's like a personalized learning plan that adapts as the AI improves.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I love that they found that using a process-based reward model
Yeah.
actually helped maintain better exploration.
Yeah.
So what is a process-based reward model?
So instead of just rewarding the AI for getting the right answer,
Hmm.
it actually evaluates the steps it took to get there.
Okay.
So it's like a teacher who cares not just about the correct answer, but also the thought process.
So it's rewarding it for showing its work.
Exactly.
But wouldn't you think that like a more strict reward system, one that only focuses on the final outcome, would push it to improve faster?
Yeah, that's what's so counterintuitive about this finding.
Yeah.
It turns out that by rewarding the process, you actually encourage the AI to explore a wider range of approaches,
Oh, wow.
leading to a deeper understanding of the concepts and ultimately better performance in the long run.
Interesting.
Like it's saying, hey, I see that you're thinking outside the box,
Yeah.
even if you didn't quite get there this time.
Yeah.
Keep going, keep pushing.
Keep experimenting.
Yeah.
And this whole thing about, exploration versus exploitation,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't just an AI thing, is it?
Absolutely not.
Like, I feel that tension in my life all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Every time I try to learn something new,
Right.
it's like, do I stick with what I know or,
Was comfortable.
yeah, or do I, venture out
Yeah.
and risk, maybe failing or
Totally.
like,
It's that classic travel dilemma.
yes.
Do I go to that same restaurant that I loved last time?
Or do I try that new place?
Exactly.
Yeah. But the real growth happens when you push yourself.
And when you get out of that comfort zone.
Right. So what's so interesting is that this research is suggesting that,
Yeah.
we might be able to learn from how AI approaches this problem
That's right.
and how to improve our own learning.
That's what's so fascinating about it, B-Star, showing us that balance between the two is so crucial.
Yeah.
And it applies to humans just as much as machines.
So by studying how AI learns, we can actually gain insight into how to improve our own learning.
Potentially, yeah.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. And it gets even more interesting when you think about, like, okay, what are the applications of this?
Right.
Could we design educational tools that are basically like personalized B-Star systems for students, where it's constantly adapting to their learning style,
Yeah.
encouraging them to explore new concepts, but also providing feedback.
Yeah, that would be revolutionary for education.
It would completely change the way we approach it.
Yeah, no more one-size-fits-all curriculum.
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be like having a personal tutor for every student.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this isn't just limited to education.
Right.
Think about like scientific research or product development,
Mm-hmm.
where exploration and exploitation are key.
To innovation. Yeah.
So this research is showing us more than just how to make AI smarter.
Right.
It's like understanding the fundamental principles of learning itself.
Yeah, and then how can we leverage those to empower both humans and machines?
Yeah, to reach their full potential.
Exactly. And I think what I find really exciting is that it kind of blurs the lines between AI and human cognition.
Yeah.
It suggests that there's a deeper connection there than we realize.
That's a really powerful insight.
It is. And it
Okay.
really makes you wonder, what other hidden connections are out there waiting to be discovered.
Yeah. So, this paper focused on like math, coding, common sense reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, do you think this B-star approach could be applied to other domains as well?
Oh, I think absolutely.
Like, could it help us become better artists or musicians,
I don't see why not.
or even better at things like communication and relationships?
Yeah, I mean, while the specifics might vary, depending on the domain,
Sure.
the underlying principles, I think, are still relevant.
Totally.
Whether you're trying to master a musical instrument or develop creative writing skills or
Yeah.
even navigate relationships,
Right.
finding that balance is crucial.
So we can all learn a thing or two from B-star.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether we're AI researchers or students or artists or just trying to be better human beings.
I like that. It's a reminder that learning is a lifelong journey,
It is.
and that, finding that sweet spot between comfort and challenge is essential for growth.
Mm-hmm. And who knows, maybe someday we'll have these personalized B-Star coaches
Right.
to guide us along the way.
That'd be awesome.
It would.
Well, I know I could use one, maybe one that could help me with public speaking.
Uh-huh.
But before we, go off on our own B-star journeys,
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be fun to look at some of the specific examples from the paper
Yeah.
that kind of illustrate how this method works.
So one example that really stood out to me was their work with the math data set.
Okay.
Remember how we were talking about how just using the final answer to reward the AI,
Right.
it actually led to a decrease in exploration?
Yeah, it's like it was getting the right answer, but not really understanding the concept.
Right. It was kind of just solving the problems by rote.
Yeah, just going through the motions.
And that's where that process-based reward model made such a difference.
Right.
So instead of just focusing on the answer,
Mm-hmm.
It looked at the entire reasoning process,
Oh, wow.
step by step.
Okay.
And that encouraged the AI to explore a wider range of solutions,
Even if they weren't right.
even if some of them were wrong. Yeah.
So it's like saying, hey, I see you're thinking creatively here,
Right.
even if you didn't get it right this time.
Exactly.
Keep pushing the boundaries.
Keep exploring.
Yeah. And that led to more significant learning gains in the long run.
It did.
So the AI was able to develop a deeper understanding
Much deeper.
of the mathematical concepts.
Right. Not just learning a set of procedures.
Gotcha. And then the paper also mentioned that B-Star uses this balance score
Yes.
to dynamically adjust how the AI generates solutions.
Exactly.
So walk me through how that works.
So remember, the balance score is basically a measure of how well the AI is doing in terms of both exploration and exploitation.
Okay.
So it's like a report card
A report card. I like that.
for the AI's learning progress.
Yeah. So it's not just about whether it's getting the right answers,
Yeah.
how it's arriving at those answers.
Exactly.
So is it thinking creatively?
Is it exploring different approaches?
Is it getting stuck?
Yeah. Is it falling into those ruts?
And then B-Star uses that to fine-tune those two parameters,
Right.
temperature and threshold.
Temperature and threshold, exactly.
Remind me again how those work.
Okay, so think of temperature as a control knob for the AI's creativity
Okay.
or its willingness to experiment.
Okay.
So a higher temperature,
More adventurous.
more adventurous,
Lower temperature, more focused.
more disciplined, yeah.
Okay.
And then the threshold works with the reward function, the
Mhm.
judge,
Right.
deciding which solutions are best.
So higher threshold means it's stricter.
Yeah, much stricter.
Yeah.
Only rewards the absolute best.
And a lower threshold is more lenient,
More forgiving.
rewards a wider range of solutions.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's constantly monitoring that balance score
It is.
and tweaking those two things
That
to
they'll-
keep it in that sweet spot.
Yeah, where it's challenged but not overwhelmed.
So it's like a personalized learning plan
It really is.
that adapts.
Adapts to the AI's progress.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And the results were impressive,
They were.
Right.
It consistently outperformed the other methods.
showing that this balanced approach is really powerful.
Yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive here,
Mm-hmm.
what's the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the way we frame learning,
Okay.
the way we reward ourselves and others,
Mhm.
has a profound impact on how effectively we learn and grow.
So just like the AI,
Just like the AI in this study.
we need to find that sweet spot.
Between exploration and exploitation.
Right. Be willing to experiment, make mistakes,
Get out of our comfort zones.
but also be discerning.
Be thoughtful about what we choose to focus on.
Yeah. So learning is not just about accumulating knowledge.
It's not.
It's about developing the right mindset,
Mm-hmm.
the right approach
Yeah,
to tackling challenges.
absolutely.
So maybe by studying how AI learns,
Yeah.
we can gain even more insights into ourselves.
Right into human cognition.
Yeah, unlock new possibilities.
That's what's so exciting about it.
Well, this has been super enlightening.
It has been fun.
Thanks for sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
And for everyone listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that tension between exploration and exploitation?
In your own life.
What strategies do you use?
Share your stories with us.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing those boundaries.